Hello and welcome to this episode of Kaleidoscope, the podcast. The usual podcast is all about the tools we use to help ourselves through change and transformation. However, this is series 4, which is all about me and chemotherapy treatment. Um, so today I'm going to talk about the results of the last scan I had and treatment assessment and treatment 4. I feel like the last time I skimmed over the birthday, the fundraiser, and hope because I was trying to get everybody caught up and everybody. For those of you that are interested, um, as always, there might be conversations about bodily functions and things, and obviously there's conversations about cancer and results and so on and so forth. So if you're not in the frame of mind, um, emotional, spirit, whatever, to hear any of that, please feel free to scroll on. I respect your boundaries as much as you do, and I love that you know where your boundaries are, and I love that you're looking after yourself. For those of you that have stayed, so just to bring you up to date on the treatment side type of thing, I went to have a CT scan on Mothering Sunday. 9 o'clock on Mothering Sunday. So no, I wasn't woken in bed with breakfast on a tray and all the rest. Not that I would appreciate that because I can't buy crumbs in the bed. So that would actually be, yeah, my worst, not my worst nightmare, but I wouldn't really appreciate it. But no, I had to get up early and get ready and go up to the hospital. Thankfully, I didn't have to go to Belfast City Hospital. I just had to go to Antrim Area Hospital to get my scans done there, which is great. Um, and Stephen and I went for coffee afterwards because I'd kind of broken my self-isolation and because it was so early in the morning, I didn't think I'd be running into people or not many people at 9 o'clock. Well, by that stage, nearly 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning. Um, so then I went for my assessment on Monday, the 23rd of March, at which point I got the results of the scans and it was a mixed bag, which is not what we'd hoped for. Some have stayed the same size, some have got smaller, but the big ones at the bottom of the pelvis have got bigger. And not just them, others have got bigger. It's a real mixed bag. I think she expected me to stop treatment at that point because of how I feel about poisoning myself. Um, my platelets were low, which meant my bloods are now taken by the district nurse on a community nurse on a Friday. So they have the results when I go to the hospital on the Monday. And my platelets were low, too low to receive treatment anyway. So they were going to repeat the bloods. And it would take at least half an hour to get the results. So I said, well, can we go for a coffee and a conversation on this? Because she was saying leaving a week. And the more weeks that you leave it between treatments, the longer the treatment goes on. You kind of have this idea in your head when you're told 6 cycles and it's 3 weeks between and da 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 da. If you're starting in January, it's going to finish in May. And then if you're putting a week on and then you're putting a week on and, could be ending up June, July. And listen, if you're not well enough because your platelets are too low or whatever, or your iron's too low, there's nothing you can do about that. But this was about me and Stephen having a conversation. So we went for coffee. Strangely enough, me and him going for coffee and a conversation after I got my bloods taken. And then we went back in to see the consultant and said, no, we would go ahead because there were some that were shrinking. So you don't know that the others won't catch up. The ones that were static might start to shrink if they have 2 more treatments because I'll get treatment 4, treatment 5, and then another scan. So whereas you have treatment 1, 2, 3 scan, then you only get 2 and scan before treatment 6. So wasn't great news. Wasn't what we'd hoped for. So there's been lots of tears. So later that day, actually not even later that day, um, I thought we were done and we came home because my treatment wasn't going to be this was still like 11 o'clock in the morning and my treatment wasn't going to be till 4:30 in the afternoon. So we came home without me having got weighed or my blood pressure. So we took back up to the hospital for 2 o'clock. which was then we went to the hospital for 2 o'clock and again still wasn't getting treatment till 4:30. So that's when we went to Bob and Bert's and I put a photograph up on my social media. So the two of us on Bob and Bert's on Stranmillis Road. And it's one of those, if it hadn't been for this, we'd have never been in Bob and Bert's on the Stranmillis Road. And whatever happens in the next 6, 7 weeks, treatment 5 and treatment 6. Once we get to that stage where we're not doing appointments in Belfast City Hospital anymore, we won't ever be back. Just imagine in Bob and Bert's on the Stranmillis Road. Went back to the hospital for 4:30 and the medication hadn't come up and it was closer to 6 o'clock before I got. So again, very, very long day, very messy day because we came home and we said we were coming home because that was such a break. And again, my appointments are in for, and because of Easter week, it's been moved back. So instead of getting treatment on the 13th, excuse me, tickly throat, instead of getting treatment on the 13th, I'm not receiving treatment until the 20th. Easter. Everybody on the Monday and Tuesday has been shuffled back a week. But my appointment in the morning is like 9:30 or 10 o'clock in the morning, and my treatment time is 6:30 at night. Now, at least this time I'll know not to leave till I've been waiting on my blood pressure done before. But I really imagine we'll come home. The last time we'd said we'd go to Victoria Square and do Lego or. But the truth is, I can walk that far. And even if I was going to go to the museum, I'd be thinking about are there plenty of seats for me to sit down in between places in the museum because I can't walk that far anymore. So that was so we finally got the treatment, finally got home. We'd had a late lunch because we didn't, so we weren't that the soup was on and we had our soup. Did we have our soup? We didn't have our soup. We didn't have our soup. We ended up so late and we got veg in one shop and meat in another. So we were a whole day late making the veg soup. Stephen. And so we ended up coming through the town and getting pizza. I have to say, he went to the local shop, before the pizza place and got chocolate because of the mood I was in. But you take your comfort where you can and you use whatever coping mechanisms. Not all of them are healthy. Use whatever coping mechanisms you can. Yes, as an emotional wellbeing coach, I should have been tapping, I should have been breathing, I should have been taking my own advice. But sometimes chocolate is the thing that's just gonna hit the mark. Wednesday, Thursday were kind of days, not marvelous, but not too bad. Thursday, Friday were horrific. And again, community nurses come on Friday and they couldn't take my blood pressure. And somehow she couldn't get a blood return in the thing, but I couldn't sit. I couldn't sit long. I was up and away to the bathroom and up and away to the bathroom, up and away to the bathroom that often that how she even got the dressing changed is a bit of a miracle. And then kind of my tummy has been a bit off since. I don't know whether they tell you about the accumulation of symptoms that as you take more and more of the medication on and it does more and more of the work and so on and so forth. And it's not just the cells, the abnormal cells, it's after it affects fast dividing cells. So your mucous membrane, and that's all the way from your mouth to your exit is mucous membrane. Your hair, which strange enough, it needs cut because I was self-isolating and I would go to the hairdressers and all the rest. But I found the hairdresser this morning and I'm going to go either today or tomorrow, or early next week. Nails, and to be honest, my nails have been great. I love my wee thumbnail at the minute. That one. My nails have been great. My hair, bar needing cut, has been great. But my digestive system is really not good. And so it seems to be the more treatments I get, the longer the recovery period is after the treatment, because things are just a little bit more upset. Um, and you never know when you're upset like that, when your system is upset like that, you don't know what you want to eat. And it's all very bland food, very chicken and white bread and stuff, which is not the stuff I normally eat. Not in the quantities I get at the minute. Um, and you miss. I love a wee sushi. Um, but anyway, that's my biggest problem. There's a lot to be said for what's going on. In a way, it's all good. Um, so yeah, because the news wasn't brilliant, I thought I would go back to the birthday and the fundraiser and Hope House, because that was a lot of really lovely stuff that all happened in like within a week and a fortnight of each other, which fantastic. Um, the birthday, Catherine had this wonderful idea. I think she's seen it for something else and thought, oh, that would do Mummy's birthday. Um, so she got this album. Are you going to be able to see it? Now, it was a plain album, looked just like that. But she painted this, and then we've covered it in the plastic to try and preserve painting on the front of all lavenders. Isn't she very talented? And we were really pleased because she did a practice one, and I seen her doing the practice one. I was so pleased to see her doing artwork again. Um, so, and the album inside, and of course, she had the idea the week of my birthday and was ringing round all sorts of people, family and friends, and even people that I'm friendly with on the internet, uh, um, from England that I would go to Healing Circle with on a Monday night stuff. She was contacting them. So inside, again, don't know whether you're be able to see this, but inside, people have put in pictures of me. So that's the preface that Catherine put in. And then people have put in pictures. So this was Stephen's choice of pictures, and it was things like Turkey, where we had the mud bath, and Portugal, and Portrish. Over there again, I think, oh, can't get the angle right. Port, dang it, Portugal. Just like that. So our holidays, Portrish. Oh, the bottom one there is the rugby. In November, we were down at All Blacks in Ireland. Um, so that was his choice of pictures, and then the pictures. Let me see. I missed the page. Not that you need to see it, but letters from my brothers, from my nephews, and they chose the pictures, and then drawings from my great nieces. One of my great nieces there getting a wee reflexology session while we were on holiday. Lovely child, mad, running about like a lunatic. Wee bit of reflexology. Sits down. This was Ellie that created the Valerie, or the meaning of Valerie. Um, and this wee one, apparently they wasted a whole pile of paper. So yes, I was saying, mad wee thing running about. She's a wee toddler, running about. You see, for the reflexology, she sat the whole time. She loved that. She loved that. But anyway, it had to be the most perfect unicorn. So the amount of paper that went through to get the most perfect unicorn for Auntie Valerie, which is lovely. Um, so people chose their pictures, and then the last of those nieces did a picture with all butterflies and I love yous, um and some of the pictures that people chose were really, really funny, because this is one of me with my grandparents and my two nephews. And none of us look happy for my granddad. I don't know what. Somebody must have said something. The all and the best of it is, my sister. You can see her hands. She's sitting over there. Why she's not in the photograph with her two boys? Don't know. But anyway, and then there's these wee love hearts with wee messages on them. But some of the photographs, cracking photographs. My Catherine and her cousin Caitlin. Um, and some people wrote lovely things on their envelopes, so the envelope was stuck in. This was my cousin's wedding, and um, that's my cousin William. And apparently everybody laughed at it. I cut my hair 2 days before, like fringe up to here, 2 days before. And apparently everybody was watching us because we were acting like the bride and groom. Now I don't know how because I don't think I'd ever seen a wedding before that. But anyway, and apparently ponchos were all the rage in 1969, 1970, and 1971. So, and everybody was not knitting me ponchos. So I think that's the letter from my sister. And then letters from Lady in England, friends at home. And that's kind of how it goes on. Somebody called me Big Boss, kind of phoned them and went, when did I? And apparently I've had that nickname for quite some time, the Big Boss. And I didn't know about it. But I mind. Hey ho. Um, so plenty of photographs, plenty of a whole brief of notes from the ladies in England that I am in the healing circle with. The one that made me cry the most, the one from my stepdaughter. And then in here, Catherine on her pending. So she put so much work into this, she didn't have time to write her own letter. God knows when I'll get that. This is the wee girl that ends up giving you a birthday present. I think she has a birthday card from last year and this year still in her car. So then what I decided to do was there were some people that sent me lovely cards and stuff before that, but Catherine didn't have time to contact. So I went ahead and put those cards in and then put my birthday cards in as well. And I'm going to put my Mother's Day cards in to kind of fill up the album. So that was the birthday, which very emotional, very, very precious. Took an awful lot of work from everybody. And it was lovely that people took the time, particularly at such short notice, because Catherine had only had the idea that week and then was ringing people and going, give me a letter, give me it now. Send me a photograph. What photograph do you want of mummy in this? Well, it was really lovely. So then there was the fundraiser. Antrim Community Support Hub. I would work for them and I can't sit for very long in this kind of seat that I'm in, this office cherry type thing, because of the two big cysts. They're two big tumours at the bottom of the pelvis that have got so big. One of them's 14 centimeters. And that was something that came up in the consultation was I was saying about walking and all the rest. She says, well, it's 14 centimeters. I'm not surprised. It's difficult walking. I was like, brilliant. And they won't, obviously, they said 2 years ago they wouldn't do any more surgeries, but equally, they won't syringe them out, make a withdrawal because they just fill up again. So it's really uncomfortable to sit like so. I kind of sit in the sofa and I can adjust myself to get my tummy in a comfortable position, etc. Um, sorry, I had to pause for a minute. So I can't really sit for any length of time to teach classes or whatever anymore. Um, when I'm presenting a workshop, I like to do lots of walking back and forwards, round about the room and stuff. I can't do that. So I'm either teaching and therefore I'm sitting, or I'm facilitating and therefore I'm on my feet. And can't really do either anymore. So I'd stopped working for them and they know I've no benefits coming in. So they decided, so the lady that runs the group had phoned me to see if they did a fundraiser, would I accept the money? And I went, for one of my charities, absolutely, for one of my chosen charities, absolutely, I would. And she went, no, 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 for you. I went, oh. And then the very first blog I did in series 4, I kind of said, I'm in my receiving era because there's not a lot I can do anymore. I can't give in the way I used to. So I have to learn to receive. But this really threw me. And it was big before the fundraiser. And so we had this kind of conversation back and forwards about, oh, I'm supposed to be in my receiving area, but I'm really uncomfortable with that, and so on and so forth. And she said, well, what if it was a blessing rather than seeing it as money and so on? What if it's our charity is blessing you? So I was talked into it. I wasn't talked into it. I accepted graciously and said, thank you very much, which is one of the things I'm trying to learn how to do, accepting things graciously. And they held, was it the 5th? It was the Thursday, I think it was the 5th of March. And Catherine went, it was one of my crash days. But actually, it was one of my crash days where it wasn't too bad until later in the evening, which was great. Worked out well. And because the dog needed groomed as well. So the dog was off to the groomers. Catherine then went to this fundraiser. I only meant her to show her face, be there. I texted them a thank you in the morning because people were sending me photographs and so on and so forth. And I have a wee letter written to go up to them. And Catherine stayed the whole time. I'm not entirely sure why she stayed the whole time, but she did. And probably she felt she had to. I had wanted her just to go and show her face to represent me and say thank you to people. And, she took the album with her. So anybody that wanted to see it could see it that had contributed to it. And it must have been very difficult for her because it must have been like attending my wake while I was still alive. And that's the bizarre thing. We did it years and years and years ago, a celebration dinner for an ex-councillor that had retired and was quite elderly and all the rest. And one of the local guys got up and said that, it's very strange to attend a wake when the person's still living and is sitting next to you while you're giving your speech. And that must have been what it felt like for Catherine to attend that charity fundraiser for me. It probably felt like a wake while I'm still alive. But I think in another way, it was very lovely for her to meet lots of the people that I work with through that charity and to hear their thoughts on me and so on and so forth. And then in a wee bit, and it doesn't have photographs and things in it, but it has lovely, lovely messages. Because of it, lovely messages from people in the rebook. So, and some people made it into both books because some of my friends attend the women's groups and stuff of that charity. So I'm very, 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 very blessed. I had to have 2 albums, kind of physical documents showing me people love me. And then it was only a couple of days later we'd heard from Hope House to offer us the 4 days. So it all happened in around the same kind of 2 or 3 weeks. The fundraiser at Antrim Community Support Hub was the Sunflower Group that organised it. The hub, they went to the hub and asked them, and the hub said yes, otherwise it wouldn't have gone ahead. Some people baked, some people bought. That would be me if I was doing. I would buy a shop, bought cake, and bring it. Some people attended, bought raffles, bought the buns, paid in whatever way. I wasn't there to see how exactly the fundraising was done. Catherine and all the people who put effort and energy into writing letters and sending photographs, and then going to Hope House where they've thought of everything and everything's there. All you have to do is provide your own food. So, as I've said all through this, if love and prayers and good wishes alone could heal a person, I'd be healed already. The tools I've been using through all it, as always, breathing. Breathing's my go-to. Breathing's my go-to. Visualizing the future that I want. Being able to go swimming and walks on beach and so on and so forth. And tapping. Tapping's been a big one to help me through this with whatever emotion is going on at the time. Um, and I don't do the whole setup series that I would do if there was something in my life that I wanted to change. It's more I'm just going, I'm calm, I am safe, I am calm, I am in control, I am safe. I am safe is my big one, particularly on the collarbones. That's the one I go for. If it's a stressful situation in that time, I just go for my collarbone. And from say I'm sitting in the hospital waiting area, I might lift, and then it just looks like I'm playing with my necklace. Internally, I'm going, I am safe. I am safe. I am safe. Because it's not, it's not appropriate to be sitting blubbing your eyes out in the waiting room of the Bridgewater Suite. Um, so again, just like the consultant said, the oncologist said, it's a mixed bag. Lots and lots and lots of blessings. And then not such great news. But who knows what treatment five will bring. Whatever it brings, I will pop on here and bring you up to date. Any questions about my treatment? I can't talk about anybody else's. My treatment and how I'm feeling and what's going on with me, I will answer as best I can. And any questions about the tools and how to use them and when to use them, how to, for me, it's this thing of you practice them often enough. So I practice my breathing before I get out of bed in the morning. I meditate before I get out of bed in the morning. I visualize before I visualize as part of my meditation. Um, Hopefully the next time you see me, I'll have got my hair cut. So that when I need them, when I am upset, I can deploy them. I can use them. I can remember something. That little reticulative activating system at the back of my brain says, should you not be breathing right now? What about tapping? Should we try some tapping? Because I practice them so often. And I'm not saying that those tools will work for you. I believe they can work for anybody, but just in the way that I love this blouse, somebody else really wouldn't like it and would like a different blouse. And so sometimes some people really don't like tapping, and that's okay. There are other tools. At times, like if you are in a panic situation or you're really, really upset, breathing may not be your go-to in that moment because it may not feel like it would work in that moment. And that's okay. It's about finding, and that's why I have a toolbox, a whole variety of tools, so that you can deploy them at any point that you need them. On a happier note, again, I'm doing my first in-person healing women's wellness circles, I think I'm calling them now. Women's wellness circle on the 18th of April. So it's exciting. And I'm able to do that for two reasons. One, because I've got into the rhythm of this, that, by the third week, I'm kind of okay. But secondly, I'm getting the fourth week this time because I'm moving everything back because of Easter. It's exciting. Exciting. I'll have a fourth week, and hopefully during that week I will feel absolutely fabulous the whole time. But my daughter's still home, obviously, and she's going to help me. She'll be there she'll help carry whatever, and I sit for most of it. I can make they do have like a wee two-seater sofa. So instead of sitting in the seat, this time I might be on the two-seater sofa so that I can make myself as comfy as I can with this belly of mine. So yeah, a real mixed bag. Wishing you all good emotional well-being and hoping I see you either in the next episode or the next series. Take care. Bye.